Everyone, welcome to the very last picture in this series from this page from Seasons by Hanna Karlzon. It's quite sad that we're at the last one. I've had a lot of fun with all of these different elements, and we have got our egg to go. We're coming up towards Easter, so it's quite fun having an egg to colour. I'm not really sure how I'm going to colour it yet, but we'll have some fun, I'm sure. I had thought, duck egg blue, but I'm not convinced it is a duck egg. I don't know, and I don't have that colour, so it's going to be something else. I'm going to try a little bit of an experiment with the circle pattern on the egg, so it may or may not work. You would have seen the thumbnail picture of my video, so you can decide, or of course I may have abandoned the idea before we got to the end. So anyway, my plan is to colour the whole egg and ignore the circles and then draw them on later with something. Okay, so if you have, with a white pen, so if you have a white pen, you'll be able to follow that through. If you don't, then you may not want to colour right over them. We're going to start with the cobalt turquoise, and I'm just going to put a layer of colour over the whole egg in a sort of medium pressure. Okay. We're just going to start there. Now if you would rather leave these circular areas white, then you'll need to right from the beginning, but I actually find it really difficult doing that because colouring around them, I find it makes it harder for me to get an even colour, so I tend to find it better to colour over them. However, some pencil sets will bleed through if you put white on them. I've actually been testing mine recently. I'll give you a little tip. I've probably shared this before, but when I'm swatching my pencils, which I have started to do now, even though I'm not a big fan of doing it, cobalt green, I can see the advantages. I'm going to go just around the edge with this and bring it in slightly to the centre. So we're going to start to darken up just from the edges in. So we're going to try and make it, the whole thing, darker on the outside and lighter here to give it some sort of shape. So that's what I'm starting with this darker pencil. Anyway, so I swatched the pencils, and then on my swatch chart I put a little dot of white pen, usually Posca, on each colour. And that helps me to discover which ones will bleed into the white. There's a few colours, I think it's a particular pigment, but I don't know which one, a very dark sort of either red or dark pinky purple, like a red violet or something like that. It will bleed and make your white pen go neon, which is really annoying because it doesn't look, you don't want, like, I'm going to use white pen here, I don't want it going neon. So I've worked out which pencils do this, and on the very bottom of the pencil here, beyond where I would sharpen it, I put a little piece of washi tape as a marker. So now I know that if I come across any pencil with a bit of washi tape on it, it means that I mustn't use white pen on it if I want it, unless I'm happy with it going neon pink. Okay, so that's what I have done, so that I'm aware, so that if I know that I'm going to do something that's going to need white on it, I don't use that, I avoid that particular colour. And with the Polychromos, there are none that do it, so you don't have to worry. And now I'm going to use the cobalt turquoise, and we brought this into about here. This one is only going to come into about there, so it's going to be less. So no, Polychromos don't do it, and nor do Ergosoft, but Prismacolors do, Arteza do, Black Widows do, Castle Arts do. So, well, Castle Arts Soft Touch. Oh, and some of the gold actually, yeah. And the metallic do as well. I'm not sure I've tried it on the pastels, but yes, so you have to be wary because it can ruin a whole picture. And then what I've done before is I thought, oh, it's bled through, I just add a bit more white and then a bit more and a bit more, and you get a big crusty lump of white, and it's still looks pink. It's like, so I just try to be, so now I've learnt a lesson basically, which I've shared with you, but you probably know anyway. But there we go. So I hope you can start to see that this is taking a little bit of shape. It looks like this bit is slightly further away and this bit is closer, so it looks round. This isn't our final colour, so it will go a little bit darker. I've got the helio turquoise here, which I'm just sharpening. I'll put our egg back in the middle because I've knocked the book. There we go. And this one is not going to be such a thick layer, just a little bit around the edge. Now polychromos like being layered up, and I often find that doing something like this, when I finish my darkest colour, which is actually going to be this one, I can now benefit from going back in reverse order through my colours again, and it will layer them up a little bit more and give them some more vibrancy and intensity, and basically make it look better. So I sometimes do this when I'm doing any item like this. So now we're going to go back to our next darkest, which is the cobalt turquoise, which is the one we used just now, and go over everything up until where we stopped using it. And it helps us to fill in those little gaps that we may have left and blends things together even better and that sort of thing. And as I say, intensifies the colour as well. And it can be quite fun and mesmerising. Now we've chosen our colours, we don't have to think about that again, so it makes it so it's a bit easier than last time. This is the cobalt green. Now try not to take it too far in because you do want some space for your light cobalt turquoise to go into the centre. I don't know what animals laid this egg. I find the sizes of eggs fascinating. Flamingo eggs, humongous things. I expect ostrich and emu eggs are even bigger. Anyway. And then, as I said, the light cobalt turquoise to finish. Now I'm going to go over everything with this, but I don't want to do I can do a hard layer around this outside because all the pencils are transparent. It's not going to cover over that darker area. It will just help to blend it and work it into the paper. But when I get to the middle here, I'll need to think about how light I want to go, as we can leave a little white lighter bit in the middle, which I think is quite fun, like that. There we go. So there's our egg. And the white spots, I am going to grab a number 8 jelly roll, and rather than, you can just fill in the area, I'm going to go around the edge with dots and just fill it in with dots. Now I've seen this done by a person on Instagram called Cat and Paste. Her art is absolutely amazing, and she did this with some Christmas balls and it just looked so good. So I am copying her without her permission, but giving her a big shout out. So if you're on Instagram, you go and look, because it's so, be inspired, don't be intimidated. I know how it can be if you go and look at someone else's who's really good. It can be intimidating. Try not to get intimidated, because she does watercolour and crayon work, which is interesting, not necessarily on the same picture, but she does some, the one I saw that she'd done this morning was from, I can't remember, but she does things from Matchstick Mouse, Benny Blue, Hanna Karlzon. So it's quite a mix of different things. I realise I'm ignoring the dots, these big dots. I'll come back to those. I can't quite decide whether to leave them black or whether to do them white, so I'm not doing them at all at the moment. I'll have a think. But I tend to, it can be intimidating when you see people who are really, really good, but it's just worth remembering that everyone starts at a different level, everyone starts at a different time, and and everyone has different amounts of time for learning. You know, I do this full time, so I colour loads, you know, so I get lots and lots of practice, and practice is what people need. So, and yeah, there's a lot of talk about natural talent and things like that. I find that a bit irritating, to be honest. We can all learn, you know, it just takes time, commitment, etc. And sometimes, if it's just about having fun, you don't want to really learn and worry all the time about what you're doing. If you're using it for relaxation, use it for relaxation, you know. Yes, learning a few little bits here and there is really nice, but don't put pressure on yourself to get brilliant within a few weeks. It's not going to happen. You need to put that learning into practice and keep practicing and practicing, but having fun, you know. For some people, learning and practicing and trying hard to improve is all part of the fun, but for other people it can be too much pressure. So think about how it works for you and what the best approach is going to be. I'm just trying to make my dots fairly even across the circles. That one looks a bit sparse. I think it's because it's got a lighter background. Having looked at that, I think I'm going to do the smaller dots in white. So I'm going to make them larger than the other dots. So you notice how I'm running my pen around a bit, not just dotting, and that gives you a bigger coverage of ink. I mean gel. Sorry, it's not ink, is it? So, and the ones that are on the outside will show it more because there's a darker background behind them than the ones on the inside. I used to always, when I finished my boiled egg, put it upside down in my dad's egg cup, so that pretend so that he could thought it was a new one and it was an old one. I used to think I was hilarious. But I don't know why he was always down to breakfast later than everyone else. I guess he had to have a shave, and maybe he just let us have the bathroom first. We only had one growing up between four of us, as most families did. Some still very much do. We're lucky in our house. We seem to have too many bathrooms. My son's got a shower room in his new attic bedroom. We've got an ensuite shower room. There's a family bathroom with a shower and a bath, and then there's a cloakroom on the ground floor. But it works out well. And it's quite useful because if you have a shower that's not working, you've got a backup. Whereas when we were young, if our bath or shower wasn't working, I know what this needs. It needs the black line around the edge eliminated. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna white it out. Yes, if in this house, if one of our showers isn't working, we can use a different one. Whereas in growing up, if the bath or shower was out of order for some reason, we didn't have a shower. We didn't really use our shower. We did have one. We used it for washing our hair and stuff. If it was out of order, that was it. You didn't have one to use. But I think we've got very much used to a lot more luxuries now than my parents did when they were growing up. Tin bath in front of the fire and all that. No bathroom. There, I think that's much better. And that was quite easy. I don't always like eliminating the white lines because it takes forever, but I think that's worked out rather well. I'm quite pleased. So thank you to Cat and Paste for the idea of doing the little dotty circles. It's a little bit different. I think actually because I've whited out that black line, I need to do the same on these as well. I don't think I want to see any of that black showing through. So I'm just going to finish off by doing that, and then we would have completed the page. I'll show you the whole page actually in a minute. I do at the beginning anyway, but you might want to have a look. See how it all looks when it's finished. And well done if you've coloured along. It hasn't been a really long series, but it's nice to think that some of you might have coloured along with me. Or at least even if you've just watched and picked up tips, you might not have this book. But I can't believe I'm starting Easter things. Feels like it's like Christmas has only just ended. But time, it's weird because sometimes time feels like it's going really fast, and yet this time last week I was in a different town doing shopping with my husband, and that feels like a lifetime ago. Time is very odd. It goes fast and slow at the same time. There, I think that's much better. So there is the finished egg. So have a little look at that, but we're going to come out and look at the whole page. It looks quite shiny as we go out, doesn't it? Oh, now you can see my debris of pencils beside. Oh, not quite out enough. There we go. There is the whole page. Oh, it's a bit. You can't see all of it. Hang on. Let's lift that up. Then you can see it better. There we are. So yes, thank you for watching the videos, and I hope it was fun for you. I've just realised that our water drops and our Easter egg are the same colour. Oops, and never mind. I think there's a pretty colour. Obviously that's why I've used it, but that's quite interesting. But you could do your egg any colour. It doesn't really matter. But there we go. Thank you so much for watching, and if you watched the whole series, thank you even more for watching all of them. I hope it was fun for you. Have a really lovely day and happy colouring.